What if the planets were not born evenly across the solar system? What if billions of years ago there were certain hidden zones around the young sun where matter gathered, compressed, collided, and rapidly transformed into the first building blocks of worlds? And what if scientists have now found evidence that one of those zones existed just beyond Jupiter? A giant cosmic workshop, a ring of dust and debris, a place where tiny particles became ancient space rocks, and where the raw ingredients of future planets were forged. Scientists are calling it a kind of planet factory, not because it is still building planets today, but because in the earliest age of the solar system, this region may have produced multiple generations of planetesimals, the rocky bodies that later became asteroids, meteorites, moons, and even planets. And the most incredible part is this: the evidence did not come from a telescope staring into deep space. It came from meteorites, small, ancient stones that fell to Earth, fragments from the beginning of time. According to research reported by the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research, scientists now believe that a dust-filled ring just outside Jupiter acted as a planetesimal factory, producing several early space rock parent bodies with different chemical compositions. This may explain why some meteorites found on Earth appear to come from different formation histories, even though they may have originated in the same broad region of the early solar system. To understand why this matters, we have to go back more than 4.5 billion years, before Earth, before Mars, before oceans, mountains, continents, or life. There was only the young sun, surrounded by a vast disk of gas, dust, ice, and microscopic grains. This was the solar nebula. At first, it may have looked chaotic, but inside that chaos, gravity was quietly beginning its work. Tiny grains stuck together. Dust became pebbles. Pebbles became larger clumps. Clumps became planetesimals. And planetesimals became the seeds of planets. But this process was not simple. Building a planet is not like stacking bricks. It is more like trying to build a mountain in the middle of a hurricane. Dust grains drift, gas flows, particles collide and shatter. Some objects grow, others are destroyed. Some fall toward the sun, others are thrown outward by gravity. For a long time, one of the greatest questions in planetary science has been this: how did small dust grains survive long enough to become worlds? Because in a normal protoplanetary disk, dust does not simply sit still. It drifts inward toward the star. It can spiral away before it ever has a chance to become something larger. So planet formation needs traps, places where dust slows down, places where particles collect, places where matter becomes dense enough for gravity and turbulence to take over. And this is where Jupiter enters the story. Jupiter was not just another planet. Jupiter was the giant, the heavyweight of the early solar system. Even today, Jupiter contains more mass than all the other planets combined. But in the early solar system, Jupiter's growth may have changed everything around it. As Jupiter became massive, it interacted with the disk of gas and dust surrounding the sun. Its gravity carved gaps. It disturbed nearby material. It created pressure structures in the disk. And just outside Jupiter's orbit, scientists believe one of these structures may have acted like a cosmic dam. Dust drifting through the solar system reached this region, and instead of continuing inward, it became trapped. Imagine a river carrying sand downstream. Now imagine a sudden barrier forming in the riverbed. The water keeps moving, but the sand begins to pile up, layer after layer, grain after grain. Over time, the pile becomes dense. The same kind of thing may have happened in the early solar system, except the river was a disk of gas, the sand was cosmic dust, and the barrier was created by Jupiter's enormous gravitational influence. This dust trap may have become one of the most important construction zones in our planetary system, a ring beyond Jupiter, a place where particles gathered in high concentrations, a place where planetesimals formed again and again, a planet factory. But here is where the story becomes even stranger. The scientists did not just suggest that one type of object formed there. They found evidence that this region may have produced multiple parent bodies, the larger asteroid-like objects from which meteorites later broke off. That matters because meteorites are not all the same. Some are rich in metal, some are primitive and carbon-rich, some show signs of heating, some preserve extremely ancient material, some formed early, others appear to have formed later. For decades, scientists have studied meteorites like time capsules. Each meteorite carries a chemical fingerprint, a record of where it formed, what it was made of, how hot it became, and what kind of environment shaped it. But some meteorite groups have been difficult to explain.
They seem related but not identical. They point to different parent bodies but possibly connected origins. Now, this new research suggests a powerful possibility. A single region beyond Jupiter may have produced several different meteorite parent bodies over time.
Not all at once, not in one simple event, but in repeated waves. The factory kept operating. Dust accumulated. Planetesimals formed. Conditions changed. More dust arrived. New bodies formed with different compositions.
This is why the phrase planet factory is so important. It does not describe a single object. It describes a process, a region of space where the conditions were right for raw material to be gathered and transformed into larger building blocks.
And those building blocks would eventually shape the architecture of the solar system. Some may have remained as asteroids, some may have been shattered by collisions. Some fragments became meteorites. And some of those meteorites eventually crossed Earth's orbit, entered our atmosphere, survived the fireball, and landed on the ground, waiting for humans to pick them up billions of years later.
That is the beautiful irony of this discovery. To understand what happened beyond Jupiter, scientists looked at stones that fell on Earth. A rock in a museum drawer, a fragment in a laboratory, a meteorite sliced open and analyzed atom by atom.
Inside it, the early solar system is still speaking. The chemistry is a message. The isotopes are timestamps. The minerals are evidence. And when scientists compare these ancient fragments, they can reconstruct a place that disappeared billions of years ago. The planet factory itself is gone. The disk of gas and dust is gone. The young sun is gone. Jupiter has settled into the giant planet we see today. But the evidence survived. Not as a photograph, not as a direct image, but as chemical memory. To appreciate how deep this goes, think about Earth. Earth is a finished world. Its surface has been recycled by volcanoes, erosion, plate tectonics, water, weather, and life. Most of Earth's earliest history has been erased. But meteorites are different. Some of them are nearly unchanged since the solar system's birth. They are cosmic fossils. They formed before planets became stable, before Earth had a crust, before the moon existed in its current form, before life had any chance to begin. That is why meteorites are so valuable. They let scientists study the ingredients that built planets before planets fully existed. And this new discovery gives those ingredients a location, a possible birthplace, a hidden construction zone beyond Jupiter. Now, why would Jupiter create such a powerful effect? Because planets are not passive objects, especially giant planets. A growing Jupiter would have acted like a gravitational sculptor. Its mass changed the motion of dust and gas. It separated regions of the disk. It may have prevented material from mixing freely between the inner and outer solar system. This could help explain why meteorites show distinct chemical families. Some meteorites seem to come from material that formed closer to the Sun. Others seem linked to colder, more distant regions. Jupiter may have acted like a wall between these reservoirs, but just outside that wall, dust could pile up. A pressure maximum, a region with inward drifting particles slowed and concentrated. In modern planet formation theory, these pressure bumps are extremely important. They can act as dust traps. They can help overcome the problem of particles drifting too quickly into the star. They can trigger a process known as streaming instability, where dense clouds of pebbles collapse into planetesimals under their own collective gravity. In other words, the dust does not need to grow grain by grain forever. Under the right conditions, huge numbers of small particles can suddenly clump together and collapse into much larger bodies. That is how a factory begins, not with one rock slowly becoming bigger, but with an entire swarm of particles crossing a threshold. A region becomes dense enough, the dust becomes unstable, gravity takes over, and suddenly the solar system has new building blocks.
This is why the discovery is so powerful. It connects three things that are usually studied separately: Jupiter's early formation, dust rings in the solar nebula, and the chemistry of meteorites. Together, they tell a story of a solar system that was not random.
It had structure, it had zones, it had barriers, it had factories. The planets did not simply appear from a smooth cloud. They formed in a disk full of traps, rings, gaps, and gravitational influences. And Jupiter may have been one of the first major architects. But there is also a larger implication. When astronomers look at young stars in our galaxy, they often see disks with rings and gaps. Some of these disks look like giant cosmic records with dark lanes and bright bands of dust. Those rings may not be decorative, they may be construction sites. They may be the places where planets are forming right now. So when scientists study meteorites from our own solar system, they are not only learning about our past, they are learning how planets form everywhere, around other stars, in distant disks, across the galaxy. The same physics that shape the region beyond Jupiter may be shaping alien planetary systems today. Dust drifts, pressure traps form, giant planets carve gaps, particles collect, planetesimals emerge, worlds begin. This means the story of our solar system may not be unique. The planet factory beyond Jupiter may be one example of a universal process, a process that turns cosmic dust into planets, and possibly, eventually, into oceans, atmospheres, chemistry, and life. But we must be careful. Scientists have not found a giant machine in space. They have not found a new planet beyond Jupiter. They have not photographed an active factory building worlds today. What they have found is evidence, a model, a reconstruction, a scientific explanation based on meteorite chemistry, planetary formation theory, and the behavior of dust in the early solar system. That distinction matters. The phrase planet factory is dramatic, but the science behind it is real. It points to a place where planetesimals may have formed efficiently and repeatedly. A place that helped create the small bodies whose fragments still reach Earth. And that is what makes this discovery so cinematic. Because the solar system's origin story is not locked away in the distant past. Pieces of it are still falling from the sky. Every meteorite is a messenger. Every ancient mineral grain is a witness. Every isotope ratio is a clue. And when scientists read those clues carefully, they can reconstruct a vanished world-building zone beyond Jupiter, a place where dust gathered in the shadow of the giant planet, a place where ancient rocks were born, a place that may have helped shape everything that came after.
Think about that. The meteorite in a laboratory may once have belonged to a parent body formed in a ring outside Jupiter. That parent body may have been created when the solar system was still young and violent. It may have survived for millions or billions of years.
It may have been broken apart by collisions. A fragment may have wandered through space. Then one day, it crossed Earth's path. It entered the atmosphere as a streak of fire. It landed on our planet. And billions of years after it formed, humans used it to uncover the hidden architecture of the early solar system. That is not just a discovery. That is time travel.
A stone from space has carried a message across 4.5 billion years, and the message says the solar system had factories. Jupiter helped build them, and the worlds we see today were born from invisible rings of dust, pressure, gravity, and time.
So the next time you look at Jupiter in the night sky, do not think of it only as a giant planet. Think of it as a sculptor, a gatekeeper, a force that shaped the destiny of everything around it. Beyond Jupiter, in the ancient darkness, there may once have been a massive ring of trapped dust, and inside that ring, the raw material of worlds came together. Not quietly, not instantly, but through millions of years of cosmic engineering. The planets were not simply born, they were manufactured by nature. And now, after billions of years, scientists may have found one of the factories, a hidden construction site beyond Jupiter, a birthplace of ancient meteorites, a missing chapter in the story of how our solar system became a home, and perhaps a clue to how worlds are born throughout the universe.